We're cooking meth together.
Oh, I was actually thinking
Well, that
like
accounts for it.
alcohol, not.
No, we can work on that too. You know, we started up last night, we started sweetening the banana, but Rob's, but
We've eaten boiled all night. We've done it like after midnight.
Jesse's boiled twice already, I think, at least once.
I mean,
Both of his tanks of sap were full this morning, so.
Yeah.
really, no, all I know is, I mean, I boiled 3 hours and the steam didn't even start to smell mapley.
Yeah, but you got tinky little,
Yeah. I know. In no RO, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, here you are at your first meeting,
Yeah, the
and I
old,
think the very first, thing you should do is talk about a chair and a vice chair, and then they can take the meeting over.
Well, I would, unless he doesn't wanna do it, I would nominate, Ben to take over as the chair. He's the senior person on the board, and
I don't have a problem with that.
I'll second that one then.
Okay,
all those in favor? David, aye.
My,
okay, Ben, now you need a vice chair.
I nominate Dave as vice chair, so you need to bring him along.
I would second that gladly.
All right. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
One good deed deserves another, right?
That's right. And so now you have, and I don't know if you wanna wait until towards the end, or if you wanna do this now, but you have various committees that you need to assign yourselves to, or each other.
I am on the, planning board and the energy committee. I'm happy to stay on those, or I'm happy to move around if you guys have a strong preference. I'm pretty flexible.
What are the committees that
So
Judy
there's-
was on? She's on budget
Budget and rec.
and rec.
Do we have a member on the conservation committee, or that's Ben?
Yeah. And I'm on the heritage committee, commission,
Commission, yeah.
commission.
Yep,
Budget really, as a member of the budget committee, budget really needs somebody very strong.
Yep.
If you want us, I'd be happy to do the budget committee, because it doesn't meet till later in the year. It's during the summer, 7 o'clock doesn't work for me,
yeah.
but in the fall, it would be all right.
Yeah, that's one of my questions is, how do you do that evening meeting? This is like one of the things that I was sort of wondering yesterday, thinking when we were gonna, forming what boards and commissions we're gonna be on. How do you do evening meetings when you've got 30-something years of going in the woods during those meetings?
Well, like the Conservation Commission, I keep track of what's going on.
Yep.
They don't step out of line, Brett Blake is extremely good,
Yep.
and I just stay on top of it, I don't have to be there telling them what to do.
Yeah, that's.
Some people look
Yeah.
at these select board reps in the past as though they're the one to go in and take over that meeting and tell them what to do. It's not necessarily what has to be done.
Yeah, you know, look, there's times when you have, at least my experience has been, you have a ton of stuff going on for the select board during the week, and then you have one of these meetings come up. There's occasions where I'll just say, look, I've reached my limit.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just read the minutes, or you talk to whoever, talk to someone and find out what happened, but I don't think you got it ahead.
And that, I mean, when I was on the board previously, that was, I mean, it was more of a liaison,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so that you got an idea.
Yeah, you should know what's going on.
What's going on in it, and then be able to also bring in and say, hey, this is what we're getting from departments and stuff.
But there have been select board members that
No.
literally went in and took over the,
Yeah, I know, well, I'm thinking,
Well, and there are some committees that you're, a voting member on. too.
Well,
so
you'd be
you
a
just
voting
have to
member.
make-
If I went
you
to
just
a
have-
conservation commission, I'd be a
Yes.
voting member.
Right, so you just have to make
You
sure.
have
you're-
alternates, and if you don't,
aware,
if you miss one
exactly.
here or there, that's
Right.
not the.
That's right.
For me, the budget committee, I do think, I mean, I've been presenting stuff to the budget committee and asking for monies for 4
You
years.
can do the budget committee if you like.
But mine is I do think, I think a senior person, I think the senior member of the board on the budget committee to steering is probably most appropriate, really, honestly.
But you also can have a backup person, we have that usually.
Which I've been
To
doing
make
for
sure
Judy.
that
Yeah.
if he can't go,
Yeah.
someone can go.
And I do think when you're in budget season, having someone from the select board there is,
Mhm.
I mean, has been critical.
Yes,
In the last year particularly, I've made an effort to sort of, I attended a couple of those meetings and try to keep up to speed, so if Judy
I
can
do have
make it.
experience, I was 12 years on the budget committee.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's,
In the ancient past.
yeah, but still, so mine is planning board. I mean, mine is, the conservation commission, Ben, I think it's yours. Energy committee, I have a lot of interest in the energy committee. The rec commission, I can see an interest in that. But in the heritage commission,
You know, there's not much to do,
No.
they rarely meet,
Yeah.
so.
so if you leave Ben on that, that's good, because if he's the chair, then he has extra work,
Yeah.
so we can, right?
Yeah.
You'll stay on that.
Dave, I don't know.
And so David, were you gonna stay on the planning board, or are you giving that up?
I'm happy to do it, you know, unless you wanna take it.
No, I do not. No, mine is like, all I know is serving on the ZBA and as chair of ZBA, I realize, I don't think I ever wanna be on the planning board.
I'm
Only
happy
because,
to keep doing that.
yeah, I just think that's,
And there's some stuff in process that
That's-
is probably, there's some probably
It's a good idea for you to stay.
continuity is probably a good.
Yep.
So this
Okay.
is what I have, tell me if I'm wrong. Budget committee, Ben, you're gonna stay, but Ben on the conservation commission, Michael on the energy committee.
Oh, you're taking energy?
I don't have a problem. Was that you on energy?
Yeah, but I don't care, I have no problem
Right.
stepping down on
They have an issue with David anyways, he drives that big truck.
Yes.
Mine is,
I wasn't gonna go there.
that. I don't like it.
but mine is also, on the, so can I, just for education on this one, we can go through the list, but on the energy committee, there's so many different things that are happening right now within the state. And the ISO New England, which is the smallest ISO really in the US. The state of New Hampshire pulling out of the New England ISO has gotta be one of the most short-sighted, idiotic, about to be a disaster things I've ever heard.
You're gonna be great on that committee.
Yeah, he's like, forget it, yeah.
No, and,
No, I think you
yeah,
will.
for our grid stability, there's a number, mine is emergency management there's energy and inspection and some of the plans, and some of the stuff that we already have relationships with utility. I have interest in the energy committee.
Okay, so energy committee, Michael.
Good.
Heritage commission, Ben. Planning board, David. Recreation commission, Michael. David is the backup for budget committee. Everybody okay with those?
Great.
Ben, take it away.
Oh, we have got an agenda, oh,
You
I
have,
don't,
right in front of you, you have a
yeah, I
little
know,
agenda.
but I'm gonna do my duty first, I move to adjourn.
Yeah.
Motions to adjourn are not debatable.
That's my job every week.
When it's time, sir.
Oh, all right. Okay, we did the first thing, the minutes, March 3rd, 126. We wanna move those,
I'll move them.
got a second?
I'll second.
Well, yeah, you probably can't, because you weren't here. and
I can
you
second,
might-
but
Second.
abstain.
Yeah.
Right,
All right, I'll second them. All those in favor?
David, I.
Then aye.
yeah,
Hensley abstain.
right.
So moved. Manifests.
I have not yet had a chance to review this, I'm gonna say.
I got it. I'll move the manifest.
I'll second it.
Have you looked at it already, Michael?
Yes, and I have a series of questions that will
Okay.
be hopefully in the next week to get the idea
Well, I
of,
can answer anything now, but the total is $821,681.80.
Of which 800,000 is the school.
Is the school, that's
Yeah.
right.
cause, yeah, that's a pretty good week.
So you're reviewing it right now,
Yeah.
so wait a minute and then we'll.
We spent $290 on food for election day?
I'm just gonna smile at you. That's that fabulous dinner the counters get.
Yeah, I don't see anything on here that's,
About-
although, oh, maybe we should do that. No, public, William T. Wilmot Jr.?
No, that's, okay, let me think.
Update Lyme PD policies?
Thank you, that's the new policies that we had, not new, that's the policies for the police department that we just had the review done on, and it's completed.
Who did the review?
Him,
And who is he?
Mr. Wilmot, he's a retired police person that goes around and reviews and develops policies for police departments.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a bargain.
it is,
No,
it's because, excuse me, you know, we had quite a few, we didn't need everything done all the way.
and so June Olin Garno, who helped us with our emergency management and mitigation plans, there was a discussion about policing policies. And so that was one of the issues that I sort of had scribbled in on the back of a piece of paper somewhere.
Yeah, no, this is something that Tony decided needed to,
It
just
might-
should be done.
It should be done
So,
at the time,
he did.
yeah, that's good.
And he actually knew this guy from his other job,
Okay.
he used him for the same
We
thing.
didn't do public comment, by the way, should we?
Oh, yes, Ben,
You guys got any-
public comment.
Oh.
I was gonna note that.
Come on, you guys
It's
have been
cause I,
commenting,
it's
the
be-
same two guys for 7 years.
it's
true.
because I left it right off the list.
But I
You
think
did.
I think
Oops,
I have something
sorry.
actually serious to.
Oh, there it is, it's right.
To
We could've
comment
done
on
that
this,
at the
so
beginning.
that's
Comment.
potentially important. At the school district meeting, at least according to Dina, the town was given incorrect information about who gets to approve payments out of the school maintenance fund. And at least according to what you mentioned to me, that should be the school board, not the school meeting.
Right, it was listed incorrectly in the town report.
Had that been listed correctly, we might well have been able to save $200,000 because the school would have known it had the authority to spend out of that maintenance fund. So that was a consequential error that I'd like to make sure that
Has since
we
been
stay on top
fixed.
of.
Well,
I
the
don't know if
school
we
had
need-
four accounts that they at one point had a vote to have the school board be the, appropriation, they could make the vote after a public hearing.
Do you know where that
Two of them were
authority
wrong.
came from, or when it
Town,
was?
it would have come from district meeting. It would
Okay,
have
do
been
you know
voted
when it
on.
was voted?
I'd have to go back and look.
Okay.
I actually might have that on this little piece of paper I got. One was in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, Phil, as someone who's in the bleachers versus the front row, what I can tell you is in the back of the bleachers, we're thinking, wait, what is this? I mean, there was a pretty good, yeah. And, yeah, I'll reserve
Yeah.
other comment on the,
Well,
past that.
somebody said if a tree falls on the school tomorrow and breaks the roof, they don't have the right to go out and pull money out of the maintenance fund to fix the tree. And that was just wrong.
Right.
Who was the person who was taking that position, Simon?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, well, Simon did make a comment, but there were other comments, alluding to that, so it's just unfortunate, I think. I mean, I actually looked in my town report and went, oh, well, yeah,
No, there's
Town,
like,
town meeting has the, I mean, at school meeting, they have to vote here tonight to use it. But it's not true,
Of course.
so.
That's all.
Got any comments?
So I guess I wanted to follow up on that. Is there any value, excuse me, is there any value in going back through all of those documents, excuse me, and any of those documents that were the founding documents, the organizing documents for each of those funds, and just make sure that table's right?
Yeah,
That,
we have
you
already
know,
done that. We have already done that, believe it or
Excellent,
not.
excellent.
The
I-
school, Janet from the school sent verification for the two funds that were incorrect. I just don't off the top of my head know what year they were actually voted.
Sure, I mean,
And then the town ones are correct, so
Okay.
we reviewed that.
all right,
real quick.
good,
So, yeah,
good.
So they're gonna give back the $250,000?
well, they don't have to spend it, they can spend that capital reserve money if they want, and then put that other 200 into that.
As I said to Ben after the meeting, it's tough to save this town money.
so, here's a question.
Right.
So, I mean, we can vote, we can make a recommendation to the budget committee. The budget committee can, my understanding, if, gentlemen, tell me if I'm wrong, Dina, of course, that's already been known. But the thing is, we could literally have a vote, go through the process. The select board could make recommendations after department heads that go to the budget committee, that goes to town meeting, and the DRA still has the ability to see if we did something in error or not lawful and make a change.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the possibility or probability that the DRA, if state of New Hampshire would look at that and say, this is an article that was voted on based on error that was false or incorrect? Is that something that the DRA would weigh in on, or is this something that's best to be just left because it's a school district thing? But it's it's $250,000.
Yeah, I don't,
And what I can say is,
Would be the school,
in the
I
back,
don't know
on the
that'd be
blue, on the
perfect.
school side, out of the blues into the white with the little chart that says who has the authority and in what situation to do it.
well, somebody should have spoke up from the school because they knew they had the authority, just to be perfectly
They didn't
honest.
want to speak up because they wanted
Just
to
to be
use that money
perfectly
like it was
honest.
play money.
I'm not, I know, but I don't want that to come out like I'm, pointing the finger, but
You are.
really, that's what should have happened. Just so everybody was clear.
But knowing also, I mean, it's a school district, I mean, they're co-equal elected branch, but the thing is, yeesh.
The select board can't, they can't tell the school what to do, obviously, but you said, like you said, it's, when it comes budget time, recommendations to the budget committee,
Yeah, okay, yeah,
so,
so what are we supposed to do with that?
nothing.
I think there's very much we can do about it.
No, I mean, cause, yeah, it's not germane, but maybe not within our purview.
You could be crazy and take it to court, but I just don't think that's worth doing.
No,
We don't need that kind of crap in this
Yeah.
town.
well,
Yeah, no, we
yeah.
already have enough,
Do we have any public,
Animosity.
do you have any comment?
but,
I don't know what we're talking about.
No,
That's
just
okay.
under public
No,
comments.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
We were talking about, at the school board meeting, there was a question about, they had a bond for $2.5 million. They didn't quite spend it all, they had 250 left. And there was a debate about whether to return that money to the town, to the taxpayers, or to spend it on other stuff. And Phil had proposed that the other stuff that they wanted to fund with that money could be funded out of the
Reserves.
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 And someone made the argument, I think it was Simon Carr, what's his last name?
It was Simon, and
Simon.
That they couldn't do that, that it required a town meeting, and no one's, and that idea sort of maybe influenced people. It turns out that was wrong. They could have withdrawn money from the
Well, but-
town maintenance funds to fund those, or from the capital reserve funds to fund those things without a school board meeting. Or the school
Without a
board has the
district.
ability to do it without a town meeting.
without a district meeting.
District.
The school district meeting.
So, in any event, that was voted on,
With the wrong premise.
yes, correct.
Right, well, and, I mean, to speak in Simon's defense, he was looking at the town report that
Right.
had the wrong information. And so, that apparently has been fixed, and so we'll never make that mistake again.
Well, we probably won't have the issue come up again, so.
Not in that
Yes.
exact way.
So the question is there anything to be done about that? And,
Yeah.
Well, I think because it was wrong in our town report, I'm not sure that, you know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of complaining to higher up people that you should be doing.
Mr. Chair, for 3 minutes for extra education, my question is, when we had a bond, anything to do with a bond, it's supposed to go to a ballot vote,
Yeah,
my understanding.
it did.
So if we're going, we have a vote bond?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they had that, 'cause my thing is, how can you modify, or something that was raised by a ballot vote on a bond that had to be at a certain percentage? And then if we're gonna try and reuse that leftover monies
There's a whole
for a
procedure.
different thing, my thing is a procedure, and I was wondering, I don't know, what we just did to re-lose leftover money followed the same procedure for
It did.
requirements of using bond monies.
There's a whole procedure
Yeah.
in the law about what you can do with leftover bond money. It's very specific.
Very,
I have the RSA somewhere.
And I think the important fact is, I know for a fact, that the warrant article and everything that was done, they were led by an attorney. So it's not like they just did it off their cuff like a regular meeting. It was warned, it was a public hearing,
I saw that, yep.
it was, voted by paper ballot and had to be three-fifths, all that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, the thing that, more structurally, what concerns me is that and I could be wrong about this, but it seems to me that we get a different group of people at the school district meeting than we get at
You
the
do.
town meeting generally, and I think that my concern is that what you get at those school board meetings is a lot of parents who feel like, nothing's too good for our kids, and and that's maybe unfair, I feel, but there's I think a greater willingness to undertake expenditures, even if they have an impact on the people who pay taxes in town, than you maybe would get if you had a broader cross-section of town residents. And I don't know, I know this year we did some experimentation with moving dates and times around. I just wonder if it wouldn't be possible to have the school board meeting and the town meeting at the same time or on the same date, so you get the same people there. Maybe that's just a pipe dream, maybe that's not gonna happen, but.
After
That's been
experiencing that school board, I don't think you can get around their wall of control, if you will. I mean,
Hey, we got 40% no vote this year.
yeah, well, that's good, but I've seen in my lifetime, I've seen the school budget voted down on 2 different occasions. But there were a lot more people in town that were native people, and
The native or not, honestly, I've also been at school district meetings where they passed the budget, and I don't think there were 45 or 50 people there.
I was gonna say, when.
And it'll be
it's
like 350 people at town meeting, I mean, it's
you know,
but when you're looking at 25% versus 75% of the budget, it's,
I went to Lyme School, and when I went to Lyme School, we had normal school teachers, they had 2-year degrees. And the product that came out for students, they did just fine. I used I don't use myself as an example, but I used my sister-in-law, Sarah Chaffee, she's a pediatric oncologist. And, everybody went the way they were gonna go and were successful at it. And you can't tell me you have to pay these teachers $100,000 and, I mean, those salaries are huge. And then you can't touch them because
And then we're
they're
gonna
under
renegotiate
negotiation with a,
them for a 3-year contract.
yeah.
Just for information, the RSA on unused bond funds is 33:3-A, use of bond proceeds. So if you wanna take a look.
which
at
RSA
that.
is that, first three?
RSA
Yep.
33:3-A.
Yep.
Well, again, it probably, you may be right that there's no point in it, but I think my own takeaway from that was that the next time there is a school district meeting where there's an important financial question that actually is gonna affect people's property tax in a material way, that my inclination is to send out a broader email, or an email to the listserv, just to let people know, look, this is what's going on at the school district meeting, and this is what's in play. Even if you don't normally attend school district meetings, if you're interested in this, you should attend this meeting. See if we can move the.
They're very well, that bond vote that went through, I mean, they had people lined up babysitting the whole 9 yards to get all their votes out. We, taxpayers, been paying for that ever since.
Right. I have another thing, I mentioned it at the beginning of the budget committee season in September. It is allowed to put on a warrant article, passing this will add bumpty-bump dollars to the tax rate. So the officers clause of, Article 4, will add 2 cents to the tax rate. This bond article would add a significant amount to the tax rate, and help people understand the impact, the relative impact of this. And I brought it up at the beginning. Dick Jones encouraged me to bring it up when it was time, and suddenly it was February. So for any budget committee members, let's focus on that and get that into the warrant articles. That's a simple calculation that the DRA tells you how to do, and the skids are greased, it's completely allowed on the warrant.
I think it's a great idea. It's a dangerous road to go down. You just have to be really, really careful. You don't know what the tax rate is gonna be. It's very difficult to make any kind of a head calculation.
So,
You may have, no, you're not even gonna have your April 1st assessment numbers. You're gonna be basing everything on the year before. I just know how people react to something that they're given that says, okay, here's your assessment, yep, and then they figure out what their taxes are gonna be.
Okay.
And then they go, how come it didn't come out like that? Because their assessment changed, they didn't know it, or the tax rate wasn't the same as what they thought it was gonna be. So you just have to be really careful. I'm
Well-
not saying it's a bad idea.
Yeah, mine is, in that I'm just remembering a budget committee with Mike Smith, Barney Brandon, saying the exact same thing to a Jeff and Earl,
Right.
trying to say, it's this much, but you don't know what you know what the budget's gonna be, you don't know what the tax rate's gonna be for an assessment yet, so. But I do think that when you sit there and you go, ask a question, what does this add? I mean, we had this like fire station bond,
You
the
can have an
highway thing.
assessment of it,
You can
or
say,
around,
what is,
right.
this is approximately what's gonna be.
Right, exactly.
And I do think that's information that people,
right. And there is, the DRA has a formula. They say, you may use this formula in the warrant.
Right.
And so, that gives it the legal cover to say this. So anyway,
No,
thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say right now. We can argue
Sure.
about it.
Yeah.
public,
I asked her already.
oh, no.
Oh, but I changed my mind.
Oh, you
I
changed
don't
your
know, I
mind,
didn't
you
know
can't
you
do
were the
that.
new chair. Congratulations, I think.
Oh, well, we'll see.
You got that right.
So I showed up to do budget committee meetings, and here I am now. I feel that same pain in the process, and the telephones lighting up when they had an hour to come back and round up as many votes as they could. At the end of the day, when we had separated the ballots from, the ballots that we could by paper on a day from 7 to 7, there were more than 2 times the number of people who cast ballots versus the people who showed up to the town meeting or the school meeting. And that just, if we did nothing else, then adopt an SB2 model, we get a greater percentage of the people who just can't or won't, or don't have the patience for the process that is undertaken. And if, if changes get made, the changes can be put on that new ballot. And we're not gonna go back 200 years to the way things were and get lots of people, everybody in town. And is SB2 a reasonable way to get more people voting? If our goal is to get more people voting, then that's one way to do it. And what we did this year, for the most part, was SB2, with the exception of having any changes to the warrants that needed the paper ballot or the voice ballot. And the paper ballot assures that people will get a private vote, which I believe is their right. It's not who yells the loudest. SB2 is something to consider, and I believe it's doable for the next year, 2027, which would be really key to get more people out to vote for or against whatever the school board comes up with 3 years' worth of contract that they have to negotiate starting now-ish. So that's my pitch, and I'm glad I came. And Dina, that one pager you gave me on SB2,
Yeah,
it's really simple. I think I even understand it.
ooh, good.
I'll note that Jen Boylston has done a great deal of thought and study about SB2 and might be a person to pull in for some information or consultation. She's a very thoughtful researcher.
And, yes, she is. She's amazing. We have a midterm coming up, and to have something else on the ballot that might be SB2, it would be a perfect time to get a very large portion of the community out to express a preference.
So it was worth looking into, guys? I'll find that, okay.
So mine is, when did you guys make the decision to have the separate voting, full day of voting, and then town meeting? And when you guys look back from previous years, how much do you think that it was a smoother thing for town meeting, there was less disruptions, people going to polls, and did we have more people participate in the democratic process?
I don't know, it's hard to judge.
Well, I think you need to get numbers from Emily. I do know that there were 431 votes cast, I think that was the total number, at the physical voting day on the ballots.
And there wasn't even half that.
At,
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. At town meeting the other day, they counted 165.
More than twice showed up to vote in one polling unit.
Right.
Yeah, but
And I asked Emily for some
The
back
school.
numbers, like what some other meetings that weren't on a Saturday, and like what that one other Saturday we had under the tent.
under the
and
tent.
Things like that, so she's gonna get some info
That'd be great.
together.
We should, I would suggest that we, maybe in our next meeting or in a subsequent meeting, that we ask Mark to come in.
Yeah.
'Cause he was the one who did the research to propose changing scheduling and
Him and Judy, yeah, and he was the one that sent out that survey.
the survey. So
which
we should sort of debrief about that
Yeah.
and talk about whether we think it worked or was effective or what we want to do going forward.
Well, and I think you need the numbers from Emily too
Yeah.
to do
Mhm.
that, so, because numbers talk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might have been easier on the people that are the ballot clerks or that have to be there all day to not also have to go through the whole town meeting business part. But yet it may not be worth it in the end when you look at how many people came or votes or, so I don't know, till you see the numbers.
Yeah, Mark had some objections to doing both on the same day, having to do with the
Right.
volunteers, but I'm
Yeah.
not remembering
Yeah.
exactly what those were.
Yeah.
But his information would be invaluable.
And I also think that whatever ends up at the end, you'll probably end up losing people. I think people's attention span for a deliberative process is not perhaps what it used to
Well,
be.
a lot of
and to
people
put 'em-
left at the end of ours. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people were not there for the last 3 or 4 articles.
Mhm.
They just kinda stood up and then they were done.
Yeah, after the big ones were done.
And that's fine, right, that's their prerogative, but,
Yeah, that's $965 to the,
yeah.
you know.
850 to the rec fund, that's what it was, come on, that was important.
All right, moving on.
Okay,
MS
so.
232, that's, what do we have to do with this? We have to approve it because this is what we've done?
Well, you're essentially signing it, and because you're the governing body, you're saying that these are actually,
The numbers that we did.
these are, and they are the numbers that came from town meeting that I put into the program, the DRA's program, to spit this document out, so. And it has to be to the DRA within 20 days of the annual meeting, so today's the day. Can't let those things linger,
So we need to, a
and that's the
motion,
official, you should accept it.
I'll
yeah.
move it.
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Michael.
Then I,
So if I may ask a clarifying question, so these, the MS 232 is a report of the numbers that were voted at town
Actually
meeting?
voted, yes.
So that's the real number.
That's right.
Thanks.
I'll come around.
For the municipal side,
Yeah, not the school.
not the school,
No,
the municipal
yeah,
side,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is sorry.
Yeah. Yes, and they're documented the way that DRA does it.
DRA
is
wants
they
it. No.
lump things together, so warrant article amounts are in with some department amounts. As long as it totals the same thing, that's all that matters. Okay.
all right, you're gonna have to explain
And
this
then,
one.
yep, that, yeah, the property appraisal agreement has to do with, a property that has, the abatement process. But actually, they went to court, they're in court, so this is to appraise, their property. We're
Should
paying-
we be talking about this in non-public?
As long as you don't mention a name, doesn't matter. Unless you need, well, you should know the name, but you can do it non-public if you want.
Is there,
It's our attorney asking the town, because for mediation and for pre-whatever, we need to have an independent appraisal done.
Which we're gonna pick.
Yeah,
yep,
Well, I guess,
are we talking,
I don't remember what it is.
$1,200.
Yeah, it's 12, yeah.
So. It's not really a lot of money.
No,
or bucks?
it's cheaper than going to court.
All right, I'll move it.
Got a second?
I seconded,
All those in favor?
And I,
Michael, aye.
So moved. That's all we had?
Well, you always have a few other little things, you
Anything
actually.
before we go into non-public?
I wanna talk about the Smith property
Yeah,
and what we do about that, and, I don't think that's a non-public thing.
No.
no,
So-
I think.
The town vote, obviously, the people voted not to appropriate additional funds for the cleanup, and that kind of, it seems to me, leaves us in the position of deciding, or, what do we do going forward? So we have $125,000 that's been appropriated already. we could continue to move forward and try to clean up that, the Dorchester Road property and hope that that's enough. And if it isn't enough, we could go back to town meeting next year and ask for more at that point when we have more data. I would guess, without knowing, that the Smiths' expectation is that that vote means that we're not gonna do anything, we're gonna let the whole thing drop. And we could do that, I suppose, we've got
I
the,
almost thought we should take it, ask the meeting, because the trouble, they were accusing the select board of being so mean to them, but it's not the select board, it's the people in town that have been requesting that cleanup take place, and it should have been put back onto the people.
And
well,
it's state law too, so.
look,
it's not-
yeah, my view is that I think, notwithstanding people saying, oh, this is a class thing, or this is this, or this is that, it seems to me everybody has an obligation to follow the rules, and they are not following the rules. At least that's my view. I think having now spent a bunch of time trying to clean up the Goose Pond property and, going to court on this stuff, I think, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, it's not that easy of a thing to figure out exactly where the line is between having a really messy front yard and operating an illegal junkyard. Like if you're trying to say, oh, do I have to move this piece of junk or I have to move this thing? It's hard to make those individual decisions, but when I look at Dorchester Road in the aggregate, it is absolutely evident to me that that is not anywhere near the line, it is way over the line. There are, when I was on the property, between 30 and 50 vehicles of one sort, of various stages of sinking into the mud. There's just piles of material, all kinds of lawnmower parts and
Yeah,
string trimmers and.
Decaying wood, I mean,
That's not a messy front yard, that is a junkyard within the meaning of the statute. And it seems to me that our job is to make sure that everybody follows the rules, even if they're sympathetic, or even if they have whatever sort of personal problems they have, And with the Smiths in particular, it's not like, notwithstanding the way they portray it, we spent 3 years, over and over trying to get them to do it themselves, and they, I don't know if you remember, Ben, they gave us a letter saying we're gonna do this by then, and this by then, and this by then, and every time that just, none of it ever happens.
I've been working with them for years prior to that, I mean, it's
So,
just,
look, I've been doing, I think, more, I felt like Judy was getting the brunt of that abuse that's associated with pushing that project forward. And so I tried to take it on and tried to do it. And I've been doing, I think, the lion's share of that.
no, you've been on the front line of trying to do
And look,
something.
like, I didn't spend 30 years working my tail off at a big law firm to retire and become the HOA president. That's the last thing in the world I want to do. But my own personal view is we ought to continue to do what we're doing. I think what we've been doing is the right thing to do from the perspective of the select board in the town. Now, that said, if you guys feel like we ought to get further public input in some fashion, I don't know how we would do that. Or if you think we ought to just let it go, look, I got plenty of other things I'd be happy to do at that time. It's not fun,
Well, we're not
last time I was
gonna
at Goose Pond, he was screaming at me about,
That's what we got a
Right.
earful the other day.
But you're waiting for news on something, right?
Yeah, so the current status is that we have a motion to allow us to put up a drone to take a picture of the property. Just so that it's on the YouTube and so people understand why we asked for that. It's because it's a big piece of property and there is just a massive amount of stuff on it. And me and us as a select board, in trying to figure out, well, how do we figure out what gets moved off, what do we clear off, what does he clear off, what gets to stay? I don't even know how to approach that unless you have a map or a diagram that shows everything that's on the property. So the idea was, we put up a drone, we take an aerial picture, and then we have a map, and we could sit down with the property owners and say, okay, we think this stuff the stuff that we've colored in blue needs to be removed from the property, and they would say, no, that's too much, you should, and we would have a negotiation that way, and we would, that way, hopefully arrive at a list of things that they're gonna remove, things that we're gonna remove, things that get to stay, and to the extent that we couldn't resolve that with them, which is unfortunately likely, we could go to court and say, here's the stuff that's in dispute. And get the court to tell us, no, that can stay, or no, it has to go. So that motion, the court hearing was about a month ago now. We're waiting for a ruling from the judge on whether we can put up a drone. We have a prior order that gives the select board the authority to go on the property anytime we want to inspect. And I kind of thought that would allow, that a drone, taking a drone photo would fall within that. But on the advice of counsel, because of the sensitive issues associated with putting up a drone and taking pictures of people or property or things, we wanted to make sure the court would confirm that. So we're waiting for a ruling on that.
And it's important to say, the drone is going up once to take a picture.
A single set of
It's not
pictures.
to invade anybody's privacy or
not-
go up 10 times over the week, you know.
Well, yeah, and we
so.
give them, I mean, in court, Jedediah made the argument that, well, what if he wants to be nude sunbathing back there, and we put up a drone to take pictures of him? Which now every time I drive by the property, I'm coming. But we would give them ample advance notice, he could put on a bathing suit.
Right, they would know when it was gonna happen.
They would know when it's gonna happen, it's one time, but the court may deny that, or
That's
they may give us permission. But then, if we get permission, the question is, do we still wanna move forward, given the result of this the vote, last week? My personal view is that I would continue to move forward and keep my fingers crossed that we could get it cleaned up with the money we
Right.
already have, but
But there
that's
was
a
nothing in
board
the
decision,
warrant
not my decision.
article that led to a decision they were making, yes or no, about whether the property should be cleaned up. It was,
Absolutely.
Additional-
you can't
mine
have
is-
any more money
Mine is, for
at this
me,
time.
mine is, there's good decisions, there's bad decisions. There's a court order that's already in existence that doesn't lapse out. And the town meeting decisions, town meeting voted a sum of money to clean that up, with the full knowledge that a lien will be put on the property, and when that property is disposed, we are in line to get it paid back on. The amendment, or the warrant article at just town meeting, the reality is, there has nothing, there's no change in how we move forward, and I think that's where we stay. DES doesn't sit there and say, they're not gonna come up and do an inspection. Because New Hampshire DES, they have a policy that basically, that when you have a certain number of cars that have been there for a certain number of years, 100% of the time, there's ground contamination. So, mine is this an environmental issue? Mine is, oh my God, I got boats, toys, and Zamboni, a bunch of junk in my yard, but the thing is I don't have anything leaking. I don't have oils. Mine is, there are cars, trucks and stuff sunk to that's been identified, that's been to court. And for me, I think the town of Lyme, we are not in compliance with a court order from Grafton County. I think we need to do it. I think
You
we're
have to go,
obligated
right.
to do it.
And you have to go by the junkyard rules.
Michael has experience in Hanover cleaning up a very similar.
We've done this on more than 2 properties, and for me, how you do it, you get the right company and Grafton County Sheriffs.
Yeah, well, we have a
Yeah,
company,
they've done that,
we can do it. When we did the Goose Pond property, the experience was which was much smaller, it was a very teeny
Yeah.
property, so you could just go take a picture and know what was there. And we did that, and then we identified all the stuff that we wanted to move, we were gonna remove, and then lo and behold, everything moved around. Well, you know, they would go and
That's-
scramble the stuff, so they
So mine
frustrate
is,
our efforts.
so a discussion at town meeting, well, so then you're not gonna do it. That's not what they voted on. They voted on more for legal fees and stuff like that. But what I do believe is, in my understanding, and if it's not correct, correct me please, this is, we're following and enforcing the junkyard rules as ordered through Grafton County.
Absolutely correct.
That does not mean that you get rid of all of the stuff. It's the junkyard, which
Right.
speaks to vehicles and other stuff like that. That's what goes.
Yeah, and, you know, and that's what I was saying before, I think if we move forward, there's gonna come a point where we have to have, you know, it's easy to say clean up the property. What's really hard is, what does that mean? Which specific items do you need to remove and which stuff gets to stay? And I think that, actually figuring that out is gonna be hard. And if we move forward, we'll have to do that. But, the reason I wanted to talk about it with you two is, in a select board meeting, is just because we got a vote and there was a significant expression of many people in town feeling like, oh, we should leave these people alone, we shouldn't bother with this. I just wanna make sure that, and my guess is that that is what the Smiths took away from it, that their expectation is that this is done now. You know, if we're gonna move forward, I think they're gonna be unhappy, and we're gonna hear a lot about their unhappiness in listserv or wherever.
I think if we do nothing,
But-
there, people will be unhappy. I
That's
can
true,
understand that. I do
too.
think that's what they're gonna take away, because there's certain things that people, that's what they wanna take away.
But I just felt like we needed to talk about it and come to a decision about whether we're gonna continue to move forward, which would be that's what I would do if it were up to me, but we should decide as a board.
Right,
I don't know that a motion is required, but mine is, I don't believe that the article said anything that changed the course. For me, I think the board has been accommodating and has been leery of getting into a legal entanglement, but we are in a legal entanglement and already. And for me, I
you can
think,
have a sense of the board, you don't even have to go.
Yeah.
Sense of the board, from what I can hear as we go forward.
Well, what's your view about it, Ben? I know you've been more reticent, I think, certainly than Judy was.
Well, I grew up in the town at the time, I called it the post depression economy, and there was a lot of places like that in town. And, everybody, if they had a car, they bought a car for parts and that kind of thing. I can, there's houses in town that are all fancy fixed up now, but I'm guarantee you, if you took a metal detector in the yard, you're gonna find old alternators and all kinds of metal stuff underneath the lawn. But on the other side of it is, I talked to Jettie when I first got on the select board. And I said, if you just had a cleaned up front yard and a little bit past your house, nobody would be complaining. And then all he does is put more stuff in the front yard, right down into the road and
When I
piles it
walked the
on.
property, I counted, I think, 37 vehicles of one sort or another. It's not just a parts car,
Yeah,
that's not just, oh, I have a truck for parts.
No, he collects them. And he buys them.
Yeah, there's a pile of like weed,
And he
busted
said they
weed
were all
whackers there, there's
registered,
gotta
but
be
I'd
like
to-
50
I'd
of them.
like to know that Emily is registered all those, I don't believe she has.
it doesn't matter if you register them, it's if they can run. They have to be, you have to be able to have them be roadworthy.
Well, he can make them roadworthy, but.
No, we can't, there's trees and grass growing up out of them.
mine,
I'm not kidding,
no, mine is.
I'm serious.
But, and I also think, I mean, what's the easiest and smoothest way to move forward? I don't think there's a new way to look at it when we're 7 years or something into it,
12.
12.
Yeah, altogether, 7 for these guys.
Yeah.
And Judy and,
And other than
For what it's worth, my sense is some of the issue was about the money. That, hey, you still have 125
I think so
grand.
too.
Why do you need another 100,000? Some of it was sympathy, but I think some of it was financial. And if you get to the
I should have brought it up at the school board meeting.
Yeah, exactly. They give you whatever you want. It's educational junk removal.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, we can have a motion and reconfirm it,
Mhm.
that I'll make a motion on, moving ahead with the cleanup of this property on Dorchester Road. All those in favor?
Second.
I'll second, yeah, yes.
All those in favor?
David, aye.
Michael,
Aye.
aye.
And, you know, it's one of the things that is unpleasant about being a select person.
For me,
I wish I was meeting some of the people that I saw them around the room that were complaining vehemently week to week. They didn't open their mouth one bit.
Yeah.
but
Hey,
they,
if we run out of money, I see that there's a couple $100,000 in the library budget.
no, but mine is like Judy, she did separate it as a person, not as
For her, it
library.
was 100% an emotional
And an
issue.
emotional thing,
And she also hasn't been to the meetings.
yeah.
She doesn't really know what the
So
board
you're
has
saying
done.
it's uninformed emotional?
Correct,
But
it is.
Awesome.
what I can tell you, from my concern is, there is a direct liability, but a failure act, particularly with a standing court order. There's an environmental mess that comes out, or if there's a fire, and then the fire department is and they extinguish it, and then you have groundwaters that are contaminated with gas and oils and other runoff, there could be either direct or vicarious liability to the town for a failure to act.
All right.
And I
And there,
believe
you
we
know,
are required to act
All it
and
would take
follow.
was a lightning strike and that thing would go up like a,
Well, I think
or a
Yeah.
forest fire that moved into there.
moved in, but I think that what I know is that the fire department has had a plan on how to attack or protect the neighboring properties, but not to create an environmental groundwater or waterborne contaminations from hazardous materials from runoff.
Well, Aaron was pretty clear that he wasn't gonna risk his personnel.
Yeah, you can, in the proximity to the water, and I think that's
All
where we're
right.
at.
So we're gonna wait to see what the court order says. If the court order says we have the right to put up a drone and take some pictures, then we'll proceed that way. If the court says we can't do that, then it seems to me that what we need to do is see if we can find someone or hire someone to go on the property physically and make
Right.
us a map.
Make a map.
And I don't know, I'd be curious if anyone knows if there's cartography firms or something like that that could do something like that. My guess is that that's gonna be a lot more expensive than putting up a drone, but I don't know, personally, I don't know how else you even approach it.
I have a thought. Sue McKenzie did this at one point when she was on the board. She walked that property.
Well, I've walked it too,
We've all walked it.
but, you know, like, I don't wanna spend a week out there drawing pictures and, you know, trying to identify everything it's a big property and there is a absolutely gigantic amount of stuff on it.
Yeah, Sue once told me she counted 72 vehicles at one point.
Yeah, I know I was
Sue-
well.
Sue
north
made a
of
good
them.
effort, but I guarantee you, it's been undone since then.
Well, I was
Yeah.
wondering about using her to walk the property and make photographs if she were willing. That was that.
Mine is.
We have all kinds of photographs, like we took, you know, as they went along. You could only go so far, number one. Number two, you know, just even knowing what everything is, of course, we numbered them, but still, you
Yeah,
don't know
what you'd
what's
have to
there.
do is-
You don't know what's underneath, you
Yeah.
don't know what's inside trailers,
Mine
you
is
don't
like,
know.
You'd have to print out a property map and then
Right.
have somebody walk the property and draw in.
Or GPS it, there's a
Yeah.
number of ways you could do it, but mine is like for Sue, getting Sue, who would probably be willing to do it, but mine is, for a town leadership position in the protection of citizens of the town, I would be very hesitant of putting a citizen who doesn't fall under a municipal officer protection. I would not wanna expose Sue or someone else to potential physical danger or any kind of liability.
Well, I shouldn't volunteer somebody.
No, but mine
who
is
isn't
like.
me anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
But I would imagine that there are firms who will do that, but this is
There are.
two steps down the
This
road.
is
So
down
let's
the
wait and
road.
see what we get out of the
Yeah.
court and then we'll
Right.
figure out what to do going forward.
Right.
but I mean, the other thing is, if we look at the junkyard laws, and they're rather prescriptive of what is, and doesn't matter exactly where the location is, the ability to say, these items will be removed.
There's a list, right, in the
Yes,
RSA
yeah, and we're gonna
that
remove
says
these items.
between, you know, vehicles and metals and boxes and this, and it lists everything.
All right,
Okay,
Yeah, no, but mine's,
sorry, I took up enough of our time.
no, mine's, what I need to know, what I can tell you is, that is, an issue that's been, clearly brought to your attention, and we need to address that.
all right, and so for other committees, I'm sorry, are you done talking about that?
No, tell me, you're even.
I don't wanna rush you. Michael, were you done?
I didn't know that's for Ben, to say something.
Ben,
What?
can I move on to the next subject?
That's what we're doing.
I have one quick one.
Before we go
Quick.
into non-public.
Yes. There is a couple of committees that need to be, or one committee actually, that needs to be re-upped again. There hasn't been anybody on it for quite some time, so, actually, there's two. But there's one that I think we need to start, it's the Town Building Maintenance Committee.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
So if you guys are okay, I'd love to put something out to the community to get, you know, some community.
Yeah, since
I think we had,
Tom
we had,
Connor was interested.
I know, I talked to him the other day, he reminded me to do this. We had an employee on it, we had a select board rep on it, and then we have three, I think, committee members. I'd have to go back and look at the charter.
I got removed from one of my committees, the Energy
Oh,
Committee, Michael's taking
yeah.
it, so I would take that if
Okay.
he needs a
Okay.
body.
Okay, so
Unless one
I'll
of you
get
guys-
that going.
Feels passionately that you wanna do that.
I was on it, the past one, years ago.
I just didn't wanna
It kind
go
of faded into the.
advertising for it if you didn't know, so. Okay, perfect.
What was the other one?
I don't know, it's not on this list. Oh, it was the Heritage Commission, but, we need a couple new members for that too,
For the, yeah,
for the
Heritage?
Heritage Commission.
yeah, I don't know, even know who was.
Lori Wadsworth is the only one,
Oh, she's the only one left,
so
Ray Clark.
you and her,
Ray Clark.
it's you and her running the show. But, so yeah, so we need a couple on that too.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing for the 250th of like the US?
You're planning something, I don't know what it is.
Well, the Heritage Commission,
I hope there's
With
fire.
nobody
with the
on.
History Committee,
Yeah.
with the Lyme historians are planning a few things. And I have a couple people who have expressed interest in the 4th of July, which the 250th celebrations that the Heritage Commission and all them are talking about are gonna be on the same day, on that Saturday. So I think there'll be some stuff going on in town. And I'll be coming to you with a few names, but we need a few more on that other committee too, so.
Ben, can I ask a question before you go into executive session? I think we have a new deputy town clerk, but I don't think that that person has ever been introduced to the town, and there's never been
Not
any
yet.
announcement.
There will be a written announcement
Okay.
actually going
She was
out,
at, she was at town meeting,
Is it Carrie?
you didn't know?
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
she
she
was-
was.
but she was
yeah,
one of the
but-
microphone people at town meeting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
I guess I just assumed that somebody else would introduce her, but, you know, I probably should have, sorry.
So, something should go out to the
It will.
town, and
Yeah.
if that is the person who is also gonna be half-time in the select board office, that would be a good thing for, also for people to know.
Yeah, we'll put out everything in
Yeah,
there.
super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What were we just talking about?
And may she love the work.
So do we have anything else
Let's see.
before we go to
As
non-public?
long as everybody's nice to her. Yeah, nothing, I was being kind of smart
Well, that's not
about
you.
people being nice to her.
All right.
You're not nice to us.
They can
I
be
don't
mean
know.
to me, but I can take it. Don't be mean to her and Jordan, that's
We
right.
will, move that we go to non-public under RSA 91A 12.